Today is a bad day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be here with all of you today. It is Tuesday, January 26th, here in 2021. Of course, as we pointed out yesterday, the circumstances surrounding today's show, definitely more of the solemn note. We'll get to that in just a minute here. But as always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. Gavin, it is great to be here with you today, able to rock the purple and gold. I know not quite frequent, but today definitely an appropriate day for Gavin to be supporting Laker Nation, all of us today, our Laker Nation. As yes, 1 year ago today was the tragic passing of Laker great Philadelphia native Kobe Bryant. But first of all, besides all that, Gavin, how are you doing today?
Zach, I woke up not in the best of moods today. All right, for one, it's raining or sleeting or snowing or Zach, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Pennsylvania weather, I'm telling you.
Yay, weather, yes. But that's not the reason why it is not a good day for me today. Today, as you said, Zach, today is a day 1 year ago. 1 year ago, not today, on Sunday. Sunday would technically be 1 year, but Zach, the date we lost an inspirational man. Zach, a local native, as you said. I don't know what to tell you. All right. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do have Lakers colors on the day. Excuse the 23. They don't sell 24 no more, Zach. Look, I went all around KOP, couldn't find it. But Zach, the somber it's just a depression feeling today. If you're a basketball fan, and even if you're a basketball fan, Zach, you know me, I'm not the biggest Laker guy, but when you ask me about the Lakers, the first person that flies on my mouth is Kobe Bryant. Then I'll say Shaquille O'Neal, but Kobe first. But Zach, before we get into it even more, how you doing?
I mean, all things considered, definitely it's something solemn. I mean, I've pointed this out a few times on the show. I only picked up basketball a few years ago as a passion of mine, so I don't really remember the prime days of Kobe Bryant. I do remember his last season. I remember his final game, which was the 60-plus point game. That was a really fun one to watch. Of course, a year ago tomorrow, that game was debuted on I think it was on NBA TV. I had a chance to rewatch it, and even last night watching the Lakers game, same announcers that they've had for a long time. This is just one of those things where you know where you were. When you heard the news. And for us, obviously not alive for 9/11, but a lot of people remember, where they were when they first heard a Twin Tower had been struck. And for this, we knew where we were. I had a friend of mine actually text me the TMZ article. They were the first to break the news. And of course, as we dive into it, of course, many others on the helicopter who had died that day, we want to send our respect to not just the Bryant family, but to them as well, and our condolences. I mean, if you're a basketball fan or even anyone who knows who Kobe Bryant was, his story is hectic all around. As Gavin had pointed out, and I also pointed out earlier in the show, Philadelphia native, grew up in the area, went to Lower Merion High School, drafted into the NBA by the Charlotte Bobcats, I guess they were at the time, traded on draft night, and was a Laker for his entire career. Won 5 titles with them, of course, with Phil Jackson, the head coach, Shaquille O'Neal for 3 of them, Pau Gasol, a couple other supporting cast for the other 2 later in the decade. And a lot of people have kind of called that the first domino to fall in 2020. I think that's a pretty fair statement to say, considering what happened last year. But again, there's 2 different ways that we can approach this. Of course, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. I understand the family really doesn't want too many tributes today, and I want to do my best to respect and honor that outside of this. But I think this is a great opportunity to really to break down what he was, what Kobe Bryant was as a person, what he was as a player, and just like a lot of people in the spotlight. Look, you're 18 years old and you're televised every move. That's a lot of pressure. Of course, a lot of guys drafted out of high school receive that level of pressure, even some one and dones. You're pretty much growing up in front of the media's eyes, and Kobe made some mistakes. Obviously, it's what a lot of guys do, and we got to watch him grow and morph, and from the 8 to the 24, the metaphor and a couple other things that we saw. The reason it hurts a lot is not just because of how great of a player he was, but how great he was after his career. And it was only 4 years. And there's one thing I'll bring up also before I give it to Gavin. But before that, The last 4 years have been great for him. We've watched him be a dad, be a family man. He's been an active investor in Body Armor. For those who don't know, he was one of their first investors. Um, and then, of course, the last part, the irony of it all, and the Sixers play the Lakers again tomorrow night in Philly. It was that night before that LeBron James had passed Kobe Bryant on that scoring list. The reason I bring that up is because that was the last tweet of Kobe Bryant congratulating him on continuing to move forward. And so, I mean, again, this is a heartbreaking, it's a devastating time. I can't express anywhere near what the pain must be, and I hate to bring it up. I hate to remind people that have been reminded of this horrible gut feeling, whether you're anyone from that family involved or a Laker fan or whatever, or a family member of other people. It hurts me just as much to talk about it myself, knowing that we could potentially be hurting others out there. But I think it's important that we point out the legacy most importantly, and of course honor and take away what we can. That's my perspective. Gavin, I'm sure you'll be free to share a different perspective, or it could be similar. But did a lot of great work, not only on the court but off the court. Again, I mentioned a couple investments that he had, the Mamba School, and of course the legacy of his three girls still here and his wife. It's again can't put into words. No matter how successful, rich, privileged, whatever. It's always the same pain. Even like the emotions are real when you lose someone tragically, and there's just a lot that we can talk about. And I think, for me at least, it's just approaching it, talking about the Mamba mentality, what it meant, and of course, it's a big legacy that he left. And for us, I don't know. I guess all NBA fans obviously are feeling the pain. But being from Philly, I drive past Lower Merion High School at least every few months or so. I'm going to see my grandma out there. On your way to Philly, sometimes you're going into the city, you will pass there for us. So it's one of those situations that's definitely difficult for everybody, and it's just something that's going to be continued to process. It's only been 1 year out, but I remember two more things I want to get to before Gavin. I know you. It's going to be a hard one to process for a while. But we should focus on the legacy and the success, and of course, nothing was more really shattering, I think, than Shaquille O'Neal. I think it was TNT. They spoke with it that night or the next night, and he was. It was one. Like, they have not been the best of friends, of course, after everything had went down, but they were still. I think he had said something like, our Hall of Fame speeches together, and it was something that was just so moving and so heartbreaking for anyone. Look, again, we didn't get to watch prime Shaq and Kobe, but we know the highlights. We know the feeling that they had. We know all that they had won, and to hear that speech, that was gut wrenching. And of course, Michael Jordan at his memory in Staples Center. It's just all around heartbreaking. And even guys like Kyrie Irving now struggle. Still, LeBron James, a lot of these guys who have become close to someone who's been so involved in the game, so quickly taken from us, and so tragically a year ago today.
Well, Zach, before I get into what I got, it's also important that we remember the other names. We all know Gianna, but it's also important to remember John Altobelli, Carrie Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, Peyton Chester, and Era Zoban. If I mispronounce that, forgive me. I'm not the best pronouncer in the world. Kobe Bryant to me went deeper than basketball. Zach, I faced challenges in my life, and so did him. Coming straight out of high school, right into the bright lights of arguably the brightest city in America, where all the cameras on you, to come in and handle the pressure and to roll with the punches and to handle it so well, like he did, it was amazing. Not every human being is perfect, Zach. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. If you tell me there's someone perfect in this world, I'll find it hard to believe. There's some hiccups in his life, but I'm not going to touch on that. The joy that this man brought to everybody. You look at Shaquille O'Neal. All right, that's just one. You look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, last year at his funeral, said, I admire him like the little brother I had. He would call me at 3 a.m. asking about moves, and I didn't ignore it because I know he wanted to be better. And he always picked up the phone. Always just enjoy the time. For me, we didn't, like you said, Zach, we didn't get to see the glorious moments. We missed that. And that's one thing I hate about being born in the 2000s. 2003 to be exact. That's my birth year, Zach. The one thing I hate about that is the fact that you miss out on glorious moments. You miss out on the 90s. You miss out on, like, the Biggie and Pox of the 90s when the music was bumping, and obviously Jordan in the 90s and Kurt Kobe. We got to see, the fairy end of it, but it wasn't the glorious moment, Zach. It was up and down with injuries. We did get to see one title against Boston, but it was up and down with injuries, and you could never catch a break with that. But the reason why I look up to him is because I have my own, personal challenges. Well, with some things I go through on a day-to-day basis, and to watch how he persevered and kept moving, it makes you want to do it yesterday. Zach, remember yesterday on the show I said, and excuse my language, but yesterday on the show I said, and I quote, "Every day is a new, is a new day. You make something of it, and if you want to say your ass and not do nothing about it, that's your choice. You can't motivate somebody to do something, but." This man motivated and touched everybody. Zach, did you ever hear about the story about this man that lost, someone said, what, over 100 something pounds because of that? And Nike gifted him with a whole bunch of Kobe memorabilia. He had that impact on people. Now, the game. Zach, I'll be honest, I haven't loved the game ever since last year. I haven't really fully watched an NBA game and actually enjoyed the true meaning of it until I want to say around the NBA Finals time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't a LeBron one, but after a while, I let it go. I just kept up with the show because that's my personality of the show. But when it came to the other aspect, I was all for the Lakers winning his name. I'm about to go buy one. That my jersey is one of the cleanest jersey out there. But when it came to that aspect, I was that for a long years. I haven't been into it. Someone asked you would say, and said we talked a little bit also about how he was getting away from us.
Apologies for that. A little bit of technical difficulty on our side. We will get him back on in just a brief second as we continue to remember the life of Kobe Bryant. May have cut out. We'll see if it works. Also, we continue to try to get that worked out. Just regular technical difficulties here on the show, even in the new year. But look, as he was trying to touch on, I know for some of you it may have gotten a little cut off, but pulling back in, Gavin, just to retrace what you were saying. We'll see if this gets to work.
Good.
Can hear you fine. Yeah, you can. We'll see if this works a little better. You're good. We'll continue.
It was in way by everything. It's like I remember talking about the show. I said, that's sad, and it comes all the severe tragic. You have the medical one, and then you have the physical one. The thing that this man was falling from the sky. That's something that you still can't process to this day. I couldn't imagine. About it as a reminder. It's like, I don't know. This is a tough day entirely. This is a day where life should be celebrated, and life's not promised. When you fall, you realize that you just don't know anymore.
No, you're definitely right. I mean, it is a tough day, and again, it's only been a year, so I think we still have a lot of time to process it. It's been a tough year for a lot of people. We've seen that before. I mean, it's been a tough year, and I think that's been the big message. As time goes on, though, I do think that the legacy will continue to grow and will continue to be able to work correctly. I think the big element that I would have to say is how big of a legacy he will leave behind, and whether it be the Mamba School, and of course, look, we've seen the body armor sports drink companies continue to grow. That's an investment of his. He was in from the business side, and that was definitely a big element from what he contributed to society. And so that's why I think there's so many ways that people remember Kobe Bryant, because from the basketball side, of course, he was able to have success, and he was able to continue to move the game forward. But also off the court, a lot of the things that he had continued to do. With that being said, we are still working through a couple of technical difficulties, but please enjoy the advertisement. We'll be back right after this.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Welcome back here on the Philly Sports Talk Show. We are continuing the conversation, remembering Kobe Bryant, who had tragically passed away just 1 year ago today in that fatal helicopter crash, as well as the other victims that were on board. I think, as Gavin was saying, I know unfortunately we are dealing with a few technical difficulties at the moment, but what he was saying, just no matter what the challenges are, it's one of the cornerstones of basketball. And even though we don't see Jordan on the court anymore, we know he's still alive. We know he's still around. Just that emotional side, I think, unfortunately, really is one of those big elements that continues to weigh on us as basketball fans and watching the game and enjoying it. We are trying to continue to get Gavin back on. Still a little bit laggy on my end, Gavin, but let's see if we can get the audio. See if the audio works a little better there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, continuing to cut out. We are going to see if we can try to do it by phone call. I know we've done that before in the past. But I think, look, this is definitely one of those big elements that has been one of those big moments. Gavin, we have you on the air. But no, I mean, continuing here, Gavin, we'll get you continuing to just speak. We're just touching on, we have about 5 or so minutes left here. Just the legacy of what he left behind and on the basketball court, what he was, and knowing that he was still around watching, witnessing. And like, he was very involved in the basketball community. So, Gavin, there's a few other points you want to touch on.
Well, Zach, you know what I'm saying? The basketball community, everybody loves it. Kobe Bryant has his hand in on basically everything that you could think of. Zach, I mean, this man was an inspiration, a true inspiration. And Zach, I know as much as we argue about, the GOAT debate and all this stuff, but there's just one thing that this man is. He's an icon. Everybody has some type of form of way where you connect with him on a level. It could be a level through basketball, could be personal level, could be you met him. It's like I didn't sadly didn't get a chance to meet him, but he has an impact on everybody. And, like I said, the way how he went out was, I think that's the hard part for me is trying to process, it wasn't peacefully, it wasn't that, it was one of the tragic of them all. It's like there's no words that can explain, what happened.
As you process and you think about it, it's tough. And again, it's only been a year. I'm not sure you were on when I was speaking about that, but as time goes on, the question is what kind of legacy will be left behind. And it's a game changer. He's compared a lot to Michael Jordan. Again, we speak about the GOAT debate. You have him. We both have him up there, top 3, top 4 at worst. But he's someone who changed the game, not only on the court, but what he did off the court when it came to his workout routine, when he was dripping sweat at 4 a.m. Think of guys like Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, guys who have worked with him in the past. And look at what they're doing now. I mean, they're in these situations where they're doing a lot of things, and they're very competitive in this league. And I think a lot, you take a look at it, and it's that Mamba mentality. That's what his legacy is. It's that grit, that determination. The lights run out in the gym, you're still out. You bring in a lamp and you start dribbling and practicing still. No matter what it takes to get to that next level, he did. And so, as talented as Michael Jordan was, and my personal thoughts on LeBron James, Kobe Bryant worked harder than anybody else in basketball ever. And that's why watching how his career ended, unfortunately, with the injuries and not the most quality teammates surrounding him, it was very unfortunate to watch. And for anyone that hurts. And so 5 rings later, a lot of great teammates throughout the years. He continued to make his mark on the league, and he still will. I understand that he's not here with us anymore. It's devastating and heartbreaking. But I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, as years continue to move on, while no one really will fully get over the tragic loss of one of the greats, I think his legacy, his Mamba mentality, and everything along those lines will continue to etch its name in history in the NBA, not only for a kid from Philly or a Laker forever, but for everybody who wants to play the sport, not just in men's basketball either. And one thing that hurts as well, before we wrap up today's show, Gavin, I know this is a big thing we've spoke about, is what he's done for women's basketball, his advancement with the WNBA, and you even see with some of his guys who have looked up to him, like Kyrie Irving, covering the WNBA salaries. As a girl dad, a father of 4 girls, he was so passionate about women's basketball, and that's what he worked on so much, and that was one of his big things he was working on. And so I look forward to seeing that legacy as it continues to grow. Again, as tragic as it is, looking at the positives, I would definitely say that's one of them.
It's like a major thing for me was also just to know that, Gianna was on there. He even came out and said that she was going to be better than him. And, her love for the game just as much as her father. And to hear those words and to hear how young she was, she passed away, you just wanted to see what she was going to be. She was the biggest UConn women's basketball fan. She had her heart set there. She had her heart set on the WNBA. Basically, she was the girl version of him, and she wanted to do everything he did, but she was going to be doing herself that she was going to be better than him. And just to think that that life that young was lost, it just hurts to just to comprehend, to think about it. It just hurts to know that, and like you're not going to get that back, get that feeling back. Every best moment he had, there was always a picture of her with him, whether it was the title, whether it was the All-Star picture, where it was the last time when we saw him at a game, which was, I think, was Brooklyn or was it LA? I can't remember.
I think it was LA, that LA Mavericks game we saw with him when he was speaking to Luka in Slovenia. I think that was one of the last moments I recall from last season.
Everybody loves yourself, Kobe Bryant. You're never going to find someone that doesn't love Kobe Bryant. People have their opinions about him. Exactly. Like I said, people have their opinions about people and how they view people. But I'm pretty sure if you go to a room and ask who is your favorite, who is the most inspirational, a lot of people are going to say Kobe Bryant. And also, too, Zach, he's an icon. Like, I know I lagged out when I was saying this, but there's a difference between GOATs and icons. All right? And not arguing GOAT debate, but it's like we always talk about the importance of Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant was the most hardworking person there ever was. And Zach, you said, where the lights go out, 4 a.m., we just, bringing lamp just to work on your dribbling, lifting and then wanting to go shoot around. Zach, there was this clip on the All the Smoke podcast by Matt Barnes. He said everybody was on the plane sleeping, and Kobe was in the back with a whole bunch of cards, little cards, thinking that it was going to be like Matt Barnes thought he was rapping. So he went back there and he asked Kobe, he's like, Kobe, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to figure a way to get you guys the ball because you guys are always open. And he literally drew 50 plays on like a little card sheet, those note card, and he was running through them to see how he can get the ball. Just no one will ever outwork him, and no matter what you could do. I mean, hometown heroes that guy. I call. There's only two select people I call heroes. I call MLK hero, and I call Kobe Bryant a hometown hero.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a good. We do have to wrap up today's show, but that is a good closing message. Again, Kobe Bryant, the remembrance, the legacy as it continues to grow. But we do apologize again for the technical difficulties today for those watching. And it's just one final message that we can get out there. Always give it your all. Work as hard as you can. In Kobe Bryant's honor, of course, the others who lost their lives that day. At any moment, life can be taken tragically. And I think that central message of continued hard work and perseverance is going to be what element sets people apart. It definitely set the Black Mamba apart, and of course that's how he will be remembered. With that being said, Gavin, anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up today's show?
Life's too short. You don't know when you're gonna go. Don't take anything for granted. Enjoy every last moment. Zach, we don't know. All right, we don't know when you can go. I don't think Kobe Bryant expected to go that day. He was going to a basketball game with his girl to go coach a team. I don't think what I'm trying to say is life's important. Spend it how you want. Live your life to the fullest. Because once it's over, unless there's somebody that came back reincarnated, as of right now, it's like once it's over, it's over. Enjoy every last second, everybody. Sorry for the inconvenience today. We'll be back better tomorrow.
Without a doubt, for sure. Of course, we will be continuing tomorrow. The Lakers and Sixers face each other. We want to thank everyone for watching today. Be great people. Continue to be good. Live your life to the fullest. And have a great day, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of